Friendship supreme. Friendship supreme. Finding the geek within.
What's up, everybody? I'm Michael.
This is Cleve.
And welcome to Friendship.
So.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Thank you.
Why did you not just sing our intro song?
Offer, man. You want to get a professional.
I remember when I asked you, I was like, hey, what do you want ours to sound like? And you're like, fucking polka? I'm like, all right, we can work with that.
I found out that I like polka.
It was right around when we watched The Polka King, I believe.
Yeah, that's when I found out I like polka.
That's fair. Well, Jack Black will do that to you. Welcome, everybody. Today, we are the podcast that dares to ask, what went wrong?
What did go wrong? Okay, so Sony,
Yeah.
who is just known for knowing what the world loves,
They do.
has been putting out Spider-Man-esque movies.
Bangers. One after the other.
So they put out a lot. They did the Spider-Man movies, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to even get into Garfield and Maguire, like their movies for their movies. They did come and went, whatever. And then they said, I want to make a Spider-Man universe movies, but I don't want to include Spider-Man in it.
But they want to talk about Spider-Man sometimes.
Oh, they talk about Spider-Man a lot. So they did Venom, Let There Be Carnage, Morbius, Madam Web, Venom, The Last Dance, and Kraven the Hunter. By the time we got to Kraven the Hunter, they said, let's cancel it. This was a bad idea. Stop. Now, I am big on, I just like the movies to come out because there's so many people that complain, oh, after Endgame, the MCU hasn't done, the MCU the Endgame was years in the making.
Right.
Everything we get now is just icing. I should have never seen a live action She-Hulk, and I got it. I should have never seen Ms. Marvel, got it. I should have never seen Shang-Chi hit theaters, and I got it. Like, just appreciate the characters that we get to see now.
You're one of the few people that appreciates it, though.
Because it's all icing. I had my cake from Iron Man to Endgame. That is a whole chapter. That's a big function of my life, is these movies.
Yeah.
We've been watching them for years, and I got just a great ending. And so now anything else I get is just sprinkles.
Right. It was a good build up and yes.
Having said that, what are we doing with these movies?
Oh, but hold on. Because the CEO of Sony says that you're just being a dick. He says don't question it. You should love these movies, and people hate it just because they want to hate something.
So here's the thing. I've seen 2 of these 6. I've had the opportunity to see 4 of these 6, and I have chosen not to.
I would like to point out that your favorite superhero is Spider-Man.
It is.
Your favorite villain in Spider-Man is Kraven.
It is.
And you have not seen Kraven because it wasn't. It wasn't.
So Morbius fucked Jared Leto, right? But like Madam Web, I like the character Madam Web.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. I am okay with the idea of this. But even she wasn't excited about the movie. And that's a bad start.
Even the good clips I have seen from the movie are super lackluster, Nobody's interested in being in it. It is probably the most forgettable movie that exists out there today.
Yeah, and because I didn't see it, but the showing the girls in their costumes
Mm-hmm.
and then like that not really being in the movie, being there for like a couple seconds. I was so excited for the idea of, man, there's just gonna be this burst of spider people
Yeah.
that are gonna be available to do movies with and stuff like that.
Well, the assumption.
And
Oh, sorry.
they just dropped the ball on it.
And the assumption would be that, Across the Spider-Verse worked really well,
Mm-hmm.
and thus we should be able to break into some of these other characters.
Mm-hmm.
But we did it so poorly. Because
And I think
okay.
Yeah.
I was just saying, because I think we were trying so hard on Sony's part to not be Spider-Man, but exist within the Spider-Man universe, which nobody necessarily asked them to do. You just couldn't have Tom Holland being Spider-Man, but like you could have still had the same feel of a Spider-Man movie. Not one of them had that feel.
So the Spider-Man movies are Sony Marvel.
Right. No,
right?
Understood. Yeah. The Tom Holland ones specifically.
Right. My understanding that we found out later after this had crashed and failed is that they could have put Spider-Man in these movies and just chose not to.
Well, and I don't even think that that's the wrong choice, because again, I think that if I remember correctly, like they would have had to pay money to Disney, or Disney would have had a say in how it was used if they did use Spider-Man. Like,
Yeah.
you just gave up on even making it feel like a Spider-Man comic book.
Yeah.
It lost all comic essence. They got super hyped when people were making a meme out of Morbius and didn't understand that it was just a fucking joke at that point. So they then re-released Morbius for it to just flop a second fucking time.
And like I get what you're saying about like what would do because they don't want to mess up Spider-Man and the Spider-Man, or just give yourself another Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Or let him be swinging around in the distance. They used a picture of him for Morbius, and then in Morbius somehow, help me, Vulture. Michael Keaton shows up in Morbius's movie.
Well, and
he's you're talking about my friend, and like,
yeah, and they even they reference Venom in Marvel movies, so it's not like there was the cutscene. I don't remember which movie it was in, but the cutscene where you saw Venom, and like it was like, oh shit, like here's Tom Hardy.
Yeah,
and like,
yeah, there was an ending for Venom 2.
Oh, that's where it was, Venom 2.
Yeah, they were watching the TV, and it was like, oh, it's him, and then we don't worry about it.
Yeah,
we're just gonna not interact with that.
I don't know. They try. You know what? They pulled that fucking Dark Universal Studios Dark Universe shit, where like you just took yourself too seriously. You had too much of a like, we've got a golden egg laying goose here. We gotta fucking never let it die, and tried to pump out stuff that had no heart behind it, had no thought behind it.
It was just keep that license, and that's hurting it more than anything.
Yeah, we saw the same thing with Fantastic Four.
What's the point if you get the value of poop? Like,
right?
You're hurting your own brand. There are people that love these things, and I'm sure there are people that worked on these movies that love these movies, but something happened somewhere. So you've not seen any of these.
Any of them, not one.
So let's talk about why. Why didn't you see Venom?
So I already didn't like Spider-Man as a character.
Right.
I then watched Across the Spider-Verse, like not the Beatles movie, the other one. And it blew my fucking mind. Like I was like, I can be on board with the shit. To the point where
Yeah.
my kid reads Spider-Man comics now. I read them with her so that like I can be involved as well. And like I no longer really dislike Spider-Man like I used to. Venom was a character that I enjoyed even when I hated Spider-Man because
Makes sense
I
if you get
like
Spider-Man.
and I liked the Lethal Protector. I thought that was a good series. It was a good run. We know Sam De La Rosa. Word up.
Shout out to Sam.
Sammy, we love you.
Always listening. Always listening.
Always listening. I from the trailer was like, this feels awful.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing, when they came out with the first Venom, it was very much right away you could tell they were wanting to go the anti-hero route.
Mm-hmm.
And I just didn't want it. I understand that Deadpool
None
did
of them were
well.
villains.
Right. None of them were villains, and that's wild to me. And they continued on about that. Right? Craven and Morbius also not villains, which is weird. It's just it's like when Cruella de Vil got her own movie, and it was like, well, maybe she's not that bad. The bitch is skinning puppies.
Can't get past it.
No. And like, so there are
Craven's
things
hunting trophies. Like
there are things that Venom, like, all I can imagine, because they had Carnage on the docket. All I can imagine is them somehow making Cletus like not a bad guy, and Cletus is like known as a white supremacist, white trash piece of garbage. Like, Carnage is not a good human being, and we're going down that path where we were also going to make him an anti-hero.
So they did put Carnage in the second one, and they did make him pretty not great.
Oh, good. Thank God.
Right. But like that, I think, is the problem with not adding Spider-Man in.
You don't have a hero.
Because right, so you could give them their whole story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe with Venom, maybe Spider-Man's getting all the like the praise and attention, and Venom's like, well, I'm doing these things. What's the problem? Just because I bite someone's head and eat it,
Right.
why am I not getting the same love? And then there's that resentment that you could build, or like maybe Craven is taking out his people that are deserving of it, and then he just kind of keeps pushing the envelope and keeps hunting, and then he's like, oh, there's Spider-Man, there's my next
He's
like,
easy.
target.
They set him up for a slam dunk on that one. J. Jonah Jameson right now in the current MCU is like, find Spider-Man. He's the bad guy. We gotta fucking end this.
Yeah.
And Craven could be like, oh shit, he's the bad guy. I hunt bad guys. That's all I do. And he can fucking hunt him. I remember. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm not even gonna get into like the looks of these movies, because
Not
everybody had
great.
a problem with. Well, everybody had a problem with Rhino, but it's like,
Oh, what are you gonna
the same-
do?
Yes, the same thing we said about MODOK. What do you want?
What are you
It's a
gonna
big
do?
head with little legs.
Right.
It's a man. That's a Rhino.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. What do you want?
because we gave you a mechanical Rhino once,
And you didn't like that.
like that.
I
And then
actually
we
liked
gave you,
that
like,
approach.
A real one.
I liked
Yeah, I didn't
the
mind it.
mechanical approach.
I don't mind either, really.
I implore studios to find unique solutions to things like this. I and you tend to defend movies when they do silly things, because let them do something, let them grow. But I remember the 90s Spider-Man cartoon, and I remember when Craven was like looking at a monitor or something and was like, I want to hunt the rarest things on this planet.
Mhm.
And that is something I've never seen before. I need to catch it and kill it and hang it on my wall. That's that character. I
And then you had,
don't need him to be a good guy.
and then you had the Spider-Man 2 game that had Craven in it.
Mm-hmm.
You had a pretty good blueprint, and it's the same company. Sony, why are we not talking? Bring those guys in. They love what they do.
That's fair. And that game's done so well, and people love the story behind
It's
it.
fantastic. I played it twice. And I have no time for single player games.
Yeah. The storytelling is just rough in it. Like, it's so lackluster. And any of the plots, any of the reviews, anything I've seen about it, I even watched some dude that defended it with his life, the Venom series, and
Mhm.
was like, Venom is not a bad series. And the things he pointed out, maybe it's because I'm not a big enough Venom Spider-Man fan, but like, even those were like, this just feels like somebody's really missing the point of what this was supposed to be, or what this was could have been.
I think Venom did better because everyone just wanted it to be better.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
fair.
I again, like I talk about the rest of the MCU. What are the chances I would have ever gotten to see this character in theaters in live action? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I'm so hungry for it.
Well,
They're finally giving it to me.
and Venom's beloved by like kids. Like, he's in their cartoons, he's in the younger stuff. Like,
Mhm.
even kids, like the edgier kids that like Pennywise and whatever, like those kids like Venom. So it's not
Yeah.
like I've gone on field trip with my daughter and seen kids wearing Venom shirts, and I'm like, oh, like that is a popular property before the movies. Like,
Ha-
well,
And having said that, why did we go Morbius and Madam Web?
Morbius makes no sense because I feel like we're on a decline for vampire movies anyway.
Mhm.
Like, I don't think anybody's asking for them, although Nosferatu did really well. So maybe I'm wrong. But like,
That's a remake of a classic. I feel like it's a pass.
yeah. Madam Web made no sense.
I didn't realize there was a younger version of Madam Web until the movie came out, and then I started looking into it. I always knew Madam Web as this old
The
woman
old
who couldn't
lady.
see,
Right.
who sat in a chair all day. But like
The
that's
one that left you on a cliffhanger.
yeah. Why are we using this character so early? Look at Marvel.
Set
Marvel
it up.
said, yeah, Marvel said, okay, Iron Man, okay, Thor, Captain America. They're not big name characters, but they're the Avengers, right? Then we throw in Guardians of the Galaxy, shit like that.
Honestly, I feel like, and again, I don't know the intricacies of how this would have worked, but I feel like Marvel did a great job of setting you up for fucking doing a Kingpin. I
Mhm.
loved Kingpin in the Spider-Man cartoon, though I guess
Yeah.
he wasn't necessarily a huge Spider-Man villain in the comics. I don't think.
They tussled.
Um, but like they're or just put more investment into Venom, or I don't know, man. I just don't. You know what? You wanted to make. How about this? You wanted to make Venom a hero. You wanted to be like, this is our Spider-Man of that universe. Why did we not make Agent Venom?
Yeah, could have easily transferred to that.
We didn't have to do, because nobody knows who. Like, I mean, not nobody. Not everybody knows who Venom is, as far as like his real identity. Like, they don't know a lot
Mhm.
about him. They're just there to see it because it looked, whatever. But you could have made an Agent Venom movie where he was, the paraplegic, I believe, right? It was the symbiote gave him legs.
Yeah.
Again, this is from the most unknowledgeable Spider-Man fan ever. We could have had a paraplegic that soldier that was given legs by the symbiote, created this ultimate soldier, and there you go, he's saving people from shit. Then you use him as your black suit Spider-Man, but like he just ends up being like your replacement for Spider-Man. He fights Craven, he fights whatever. I mean, I don't know, like there's other things you could have done. The way we went was not it. It wasn't it.
And I think I might have like, in my opinion, if I was going to do a Venom movie, and I'm Sony and I have access to all these things, I think I start my movie on like the end of Spider-Man 3. Like you think you've killed it, you see a little thing slip off, and then it falls and go from there. It's been enough time to where like you have enough fans from there and new fans that would go back and look into that. But maybe introduce a character in the second Venom movie that then gets their own movie.
Right. But I agree.
But
Building it
we just
slow,
hard
not
hop to
expecting.
somewhere else.
Yeah, not expecting to just slam the shapes into the hole. You gotta like work it in there, finesse it.
And it's the same thing, like you said with Fantastic Four. It's just some people who are trying to keep the rights and just needs to hurry up and get something out.
And it's rough, man. I think that was the other thing. I remember when they started hyping up Venom, and like, you guys gotta go see it. This is Venom, unlike like, and they kept pushing it as almost a horror film.
Mm-hmm.
And that was how marketing was going when they first started pushing it out. Was like, oh, this is a scary Venom, and I'm like, it's not what I needed.
So, first Venom came out 2018. Second one in 2021. No Way Home came out in 2021. I'll do you one better. If you want to make movies about these guys being heroes all of a sudden, why not use the villains from No Way Home?
Yeah.
And tell a different telling of their story. They all went back to their universes. You could have kept it separate completely. But we chose what we chose. All of them did great. All of them could easily have. You could easily do at least one movie for each villain of like their redemption.
Yeah.
You could see Jamie Foxx go. You could see what
William Dafoe, but I don't remember the other one. I don't remember the Sandman's name.
Yeah, I don't remember either. I liked him too. But yeah, man, I don't. Here's what I'm saying. I don't have the resources or the answers, but I know that I could find someone who does.
100%. Sam De La Rosa is waiting for someone to reach out to him and say, "Hey, what should we do?"
People so badly want these things to go well.
Yeah.
That it just sucks when studios are just making whatever movies to do whatever.
Knowing it was going to be shit, people went and saw Morbius, trying to figure it out. People still supported the Venom movies.
I feel like so I saw Venom 1. Venom 1 was fine. Yeah, Venom 1 was fine, and Madam Web needed it because there was a female lead. Like it needed the most love.
They would have been better off doing Silk.
Yeah,
Silk would have been a great fucking film.
Yeah. So Venom was like, it was fine. It was, I'll say good. Well, we can say Venom was good. Venom 2 was like, this wasn't that great, but again, people were clamoring to see Carnage because that's a character to root for, and they got it on there.
If you don't know this out there, it's a big red flag if someone likes Carnage. Like too much, they can't like him too much.
And then you went Morbius, and I'm just like, that's not a character that's going to pull people in like Venom did,
Right.
And then I imagine if Venom 3 did okay to well, because you saw 2, you gotta go ahead and watch 3. The third one.
Yeah.
If this is the end and it's called Till Death Do Us Part or The Last Dance, the poster says Till Death Do Us Part. It's called The Last Dance or whatever. Yeah, budget of 110 to 120 million, box office 479 million. You got to finish that story. Yeah. You got to know how it ends.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's Craven. I don't mind the guy. I don't even know that I necessarily mind any of the casting. Leto, he can eat glass.
He's a fucking kind of a garbage person. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think they just are so focused on creating a hero to carry the franchise. And they could have at least done that. Kind of like what you said, where you have a Venom, and then maybe in the second Venom movie, you introduce one of these characters. Morbius, Craven, whatever. And then after you've developed some sort of connection between the two of them, then they get their own movie where maybe they're doing something along the same lines of what they were talking about in the movie, the previous one. Like, just some connection, but you have to have one person that connects them all.
An
Not,
anchor.
yeah, and not trying to make 5 different superheroes in your films that stand alone, that are not standalone characters in their own right.
Mm-hmm.
It just, yeah, I don't know, man. And Craven looked fine, but I've heard the
There's a
worst
famous
things
line
about
that
it.
there's a famous line that I keep hearing everybody talk, which is, "My grandmother died, and I never saw her again." And I'm like, yeah,
That's how it works.
she died.
Yeah, I think that is one of the bigger things, right? Is that like the writing is not good in these.
Mhm.
I've seen so many clips of these movies that are just not good.
At least they stayed away from. So okay, I was gonna say at least they stayed away from. But so now I ask you because Sony makes Spider-Verse, Miles Morales Spider-Verse,
Uh-huh.
and they're making these movies.
Hmm.
How are we not? How is there no overlap of good with
Two
you
wildly
know
different
how
teams.
you can do it. You
Yeah,
know it can be done.
yeah. They're willing to take more risks in Spider Verse than they were
Mm-hmm.
in the live action films.
Yeah.
They're playing very safe, very standard storylines in these live action films, and in the cartoon animation one, they were willing to make more gambles. Which we joked about when they first came out with it. That's the only reason we got a black Spider-Man is because it was cartoon, so they're willing to make a little more risk on it.
I do not envy the kid that gets cast for that role.
Are they just gonna recast him?
No, I mean like for live action
Oh
purposes.
yeah. That's fair.
That's too much fucking pressure for
That's a
me.
lot of
I couldn't
pressure.
take that shit.
Yeah, that's a lot of
I
pressure.
crumble.
Um,
And then the internet is gonna immediately
well,
take anything.
only because you brought it up, and then maybe we'll draw an end to this or a conclusion to this episode, but only because you brought up the Spider-Verse. What is going to happen with the Spider-Verse? Because they left us hanging, which I thought was bullshit. It was a shit fucking way to half-ass end,
Mm-hmm.
like to cut you in half.
You gotta
is
let me
horrible.
know.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna tell you now. I watched Wicked, and I didn't know it was a 2-parter.
I also heard that.
When it ended, I looked at Katie and was like, "What do you mean to be continued?" Or like I thought like to be continued was like in the Wizard of Oz, we're going to be continued. And she's like, "No, there's another." Because she was like, "I can't wait till the next one comes out." And I'm like, "What do you mean the next one?" She goes, "Oh, there's another one." So Wicked actually did an amazing job, in my opinion, of taking the story and cutting it in half and saying, "This part, if everybody on that cast died, and we couldn't do another movie, I'd be good." Not to like trivialize death, but like more like I would be good if it never came out again.
The movie could stand alone.
Yes. All right. How about this? If one of them said some really racist shit, I could, and they couldn't put out the new next film, I could just never see the next film and be like, I had a whole story told.
Yeah.
Spider-Verse did not do that. Spider-Verse kicked me in the dick. It was like, have fun with that. And then just kept postponing it. And now the kid has come out saying a bunch of stupid shit.
Spider-Man was like fucking. The Spider-Man 2 was like hard edgelord. Like, I was like, man, it's really ramping up, and then it just ended. Like, wait, no, that's not how you do this.
My daughter was like, "Is it over, Dad?" And I'm like, I don't know. It shouldn't be. It certainly feels like we left there was no resolution at all. Like there's not any answers to anything. It was more than just cliffhangers. It felt like a half-finished film. Mm-hmm. There were parts.
If you're gonna do that, I need to know ahead of time.
Yeah, and then like again, we just keep postponing it, and now it's indefinitely postponed. They're not sure what they're gonna do. I can't even remember what the kid said. Do you? So apparently, to recap it, he was kind of creeping on Haley, who's also a voice actress, and was like very obviously people picked up on he was making her uncomfortable, and he had tweeted some stuff, and she was like, she got engaged, and he posted some other weird shit about there being other fish in the sea, and then posted pictures of him with another girl from the movie, and some romantic music, and she's apparently engaged, which that caused more drama. And so evidently he's been very creepy towards all of the co-stars, and nobody really wants to work with them. So we may just never get the resolution. Like, there may never be the next part to this.
Also, voice actors are really good. You can probably just
recast them 100%. You know what?
Also, I mean, depending on how strongly they feel about it, you could just never see him. You put him in a booth, you put him to record all his shit, and you send him home.
I'm fine with completely cutting him. I'd rather, as a person, know that Sony stood on business and said, we're not going to deal with someone like this, and we're going to put somebody else in this voice. I will not complain one time about the voice being different. I don't care.
Nope.
Tell me the story. Why do I care if it's that kid or a new kid? I don't want some creepy ass kid. That's why I was perfectly fine when they changed McCree to Cassidy.
In Overwatch, yeah.
And everybody lost their... Oh, thank you. In Overwatch, when everybody found out that he was named McCree after somebody that was accused of a ton of sexual harassment at Blizzard. Please, sacrifice shitty people, and I promise you I will forgive the small amounts of story that are missed.
I would watch Flash.
100%. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy so much. Fuck that guy. He's somehow still around. Anyways, if you guys think you could have saved the Spider-Verse, put down in the comments what you would have done. What's the roadmap? How did you avoid the Madam Webs of our universe? It's not like this fucking timeline's not already going through a bunch of shit. So maybe we could have gotten a better fucking Sony Spider-Verse. If there's any kids out there listening to me, I'm so sorry, guys. Put a $5 in the swear jar for me.
Let me borrow a $5.
Let me borrow $5. Put it in the swear
send
jar.
That $5 to.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you right now. I'm sorry. This is me after dark, and I hate everything.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed tonight's episode. I've been Michael.
This is Cleve.
And it's Morbin time.